Good day. Welcome to the Casual Corner. I'm Keyshawn, and this is Melanie, and we are going to be answering your frequently asked questions surrounding life insurance and pensions. How are you today, Mal?
I'm good, thanks, Keyshawn. How are you?
I'm great, and it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So, I think topic of discussion today is succession planning. Everybody wants to know how to create and how to get to that end goal and become successful, essentially. Now, talking about pensions, we know that there's a contribution aspect to it. I actually have to put something in order to get something out, essentially. So, from your perspective, how much should one be considering to contribute into their version of a pension plan?
Okay, so that's a really hard question to answer because everyone's different. Much like your life insurance policies, it's very much not one size fits all. So, as per the year 2000, legislation came into effect that requires all Bermudian employers to have a pension in place for their employees. Now, with that comes a mandatory 10% contribution every year. So that's 10% of the employee's wages, 5% matched by the employer, 5% deducted from the employee. I think most of us have seen that deduction on our payslip,
Yep.
right? That was back in the year 2000. When you think about inflation and the cost of living rising, 20 years from now, when we go to retire, that might not be enough. So it all depends, I like to say, on the client's savings habits, their spending habits are a big one as well, how much they want to have in retirement. You may want a quiet retirement, you may want to travel, see the world. Those cost very different amounts. So I like to tell clients when they come in to talk to me, you have to kind of be prepared for me to ask some very pokey questions so I can really gauge what you're going to need and then make my recommendations for you for your voluntary contributions. So there's a two-prong approach to contributions into a plan. So you have defined benefits plans, like the government plan is a defined benefit. You contribute for X amount of years, you get X when you retire. With private pensions or these new legislated ones, it all depends on how much you contribute. So your 10% employer-employee contribution, and then anything additional is called additional voluntary contributions, which means that the employee can touch them whenever they want.
Whenever I want. So that means I could just wake up one morning, oh my gosh, I've been contributing all of this money into this plan. I want to go take a trip and go to Hawaii and spend some of my money.
I also like to tell people that I can be as nice or as mean as you want me to be. So this is your retirement plan.
Right.
If you are contributing extra to it, it's in the spirit of an emergency. Now, this is Bermuda. Emergencies happen, and quite often they're really expensive. So, I recommend to clients to take a three-prong approach to it. So, financial health is like a three-legged stool at the very minimum. You have an operating account where money comes in and out. So, your payroll comes in and out, your bills go in and out. You have a high yield savings account. So a CD, Bermudians love CDs, by the way. A CD account, a savings account that's yielding you a decent percentage for short term emergencies or a sinking fund, I like to call it. Most people call it an emergency fund, I think, with 6 to 12 months of expenses contained within it, right? And then you have your pension account, which is a long term savings vehicle. And the only event on the horizon is your retirement. Now, emergencies happen. I'm not recommending that you wake up tomorrow and call me and say, hey, Mel, I want to go to Vegas. I need 10 grand out of my pension. I'll probably tell you no or ask you if you have any other options. That's a short term emergency or an expense. Pensions need time, they need consistency, and they need discipline to survive.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So you don't want me waking up, looking at my account, oh my gosh, everything is green.
No,
I want to go Las Vegas. That's
no,
not how it works.
that's not how it works. It's for your future self. So your short-term emergency fund is for your current self, Vegas trips with the boys, your car breaks down, you lose your job, God forbid. Your pension account is definitely for those bigger long-term emergencies. Like you've got damage to your house after a hurricane, insurance isn't going to cover it right away.
Yeah.
Those big time emergencies, not your everyday expenses.
That's amazing. And I think that's why, financial literacy should be more of a topic, growing up. and understanding the difference between these vehicles essentially that are designed for specific things, not necessarily for our immediate wants and needs, more long term, and the difference between what we should do to build versus have fun versus, all of the aspects that go along with our finances.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about financial education, in case you haven't figured that out yet. And I don't think that Bermudians have been taught enough about how their pension functions.
No, they haven't. I know that just from the talk at home and stuff, like with my grandparents, and they always seem to complain. And me, from my perspective, is okay, cool. You have a product where you are obligated to pay 5% of your salary. Okay, good. You're actually forcing me to save money. Thank you for that. And then in addition to that, you have the company that I work for putting 5% of their money on top of my contribution. So essentially, at the end of the day, I'm gonna have more money in there than if I would have did it myself with just my 5%. Yet, we still feel like that's not enough. Like, do you know where the disconnect could be, or is it a education thing, or?
I think so. Yeah, I definitely think so. So, Bermudians have, in my house, we never talked about religion or money around the dinner table. I don't know if that was the same in your family, but money was a very taboo subject. And Bermudians are taught a lot about savings accounts and interest in a savings account. That's a safe investment. They're not, or the older generation, my generation, wasn't really taught how to utilize investment vehicles properly. So that's where the education piece comes in. And if you didn't know it already, your pension account is an investment account. It's nothing exciting like a trading account that everybody hears about on the news these days. It is very much a long-term, boring, vanilla strategy that is meant for strategic, predictable growth in retirement. So once you explain that to people, or I sit a client down and I say, hey, have you thought about your risk tolerance? And they're like, what do you mean risk tolerance? On this age, I should have this pension. Not necessarily. Everybody's different. Someone my age needs to be a bit more aggressive because we need it to grow a bit more to sustain us in retirement. A lot of Bermudians got away with having a conservative investment strategy for a very long period of time because conservative strategies were working. Bermudians aren't taught a lot about their risk tolerance and how investments work. So that's where we come in at Friesenbrook. I know that I'm very passionate about it and my team is very passionate about it. You've seen it on the floor. We love a good education session just to kind of get people up to speed so that they're utilizing their pension to its full benefit.
I think it's important. The education piece definitely is important, because you want to help, you want to do the best you can to allow people to be in control and trust that they have the discipline. When I do my the investment profile selection, first, one of the questions is, how long is it going to be before you wish to start withdrawing from this plan? And a lot of people are like, yeah, 5 years, 10 years, I want to buy a house in 10 years and 50. And I'm thinking, man, if it was that easy, everyone would have a house, everybody would be financially clear, and it does take some time and patience. So I think the education aspect is important, just so their expectations are managed way more correctly than the things that they continue to see online and associating rich people things with average people things, etc. So it's a good thing.
And I find it's a more recent phenomenon since COVID. Everybody was at home and now they're thinking about investments. The rise of the day trader in the Reddit forums, right? This is not that account. Pensions have been around for a long time. They're meant for retirement. It's not a get rich quick thing. You can maximize it to benefit you long term. But Bermudians don't always understand how investments work. Now, to be successful, or they're afraid. They're afraid too. I think the market can be a very scary concept for a lot of people. So when I have a client and I sit them down and I explain, hey, look, here's the history of the market. There's your 10-year returns, your 20 and your 30-year returns. It's not so scary when you look at a bigger picture, right? In order to be successful in investing, you need 4 things. You need a bit of courage, you need a plan, you need time, and you need consistency, right? Absolutely. So the courage is where a lot of people stumble. They see the market crashing. I don't want people to think about that when I think about their pension. Time is built in. You have to wait to touch this money. apart from your voluntary contributions, you have to wait to touch the primary principal of your account. So you've got the time, you have consistency built in as well, because you're contributing 5% every month, as is your employer. So your dollar cost averaging in, which means that your strategy is going to cost you less long term. It's going to compound faster that way as well. And then, yeah, you just let it do its thing. So you've got consistency, time built in. You need a bit of courage, and you just need to have a plan, which is where we step in at Freezenbro.
Absolutely. I agree. And I think just to conclude, you also need a strong enough reason why,
Exactly.
as to why these things matter. So that wraps up today's episode of the Casual Corner with Melanie and myself. If you wish to hear any more about these topics that we are discussing, feel free to reach out and contact any one of us at any time.